Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my home Grand Prix. I am Ginger on behalf of Wolf Motorsports. This is the 2022 World Motorsport Championship at the infamous Guildford, one of only two tracks to have been ever present on the calendar. And boy, oh boy, what a race we have. It is the halfway mark in the season this round, and Steinman, Rossini, and Panther are still all in it, and they all have a driver to boot for the drivers' championship. But what a season it's been so far. Stories across the grid at Catano, at Yuma, at Van Dort, at Rosato Corsa, and more. But now, as we head to the grid for what was a very exciting Saturday for Guildford Standard, as we see Claire Talley wipe the field half a second ahead of Bridget Gobert in actually the second Rossini, and she is second on the grid on the front row.
The second row of the grid, as I introduce myself. Hello, Jessica Curtelli in the lead Rossini in the championship starts third, and a surprise appearance of Ollie Clark-Smith in the top four, ahead of teammate Harbouzi, the Wonder Kid.
On row 3 is Maxat Harbouzi, one of the three title contenders, and the shock of qualifying, Dino Britt in the Ukkonen starts P6.
Someone who's not a surprise to be up in the front of the field. It's Nikolai Surikov for the Yuma race team, and Aki Lipinen, who has made some interesting comments in the media over the last few days, starts 8th in the Catano. Interesting given how his comments were.
Well, his teammate Jens Bergman starts behind him in P10, so that could be something to watch out for on the start. I'm sure no gaps will be given between the two Katanos. However, in between them is Linda Lorenz, another surprise Q3 visit for the Thornton as she starts P9.
The strategic front row, as we love to call it here. It's an all Van Dorn affair with Lundvik ahead of Modi. These two I have a sneaking suspicion will either do really well, or we could see them both in the wall in turn 1.
Two other drivers we could see do very well or crash on lap 1. Kofi Coro, the lead Kotosi car, and they have backed him for many years, and it's starting to pay off. He's actually in the top 10 of the drivers, and he starts ahead of the shock of qualifying. Kiyohisa Bashir in the Steinman, 4th in the Drivers' Championship, ran wide and couldn't recover, 4.5 tenths off of Q3, and starts P14.
A driver who was surprised last time out in Cape Town, Maria Gonzalez in the Rosato Corsa starts 15th. Can she provide another stunning start and move her way up the field? And Nabil Recluse is going to have to pull out something stunning to recover from qualifying in 16th place on the grid.
Row 9, Veterans Row as you might call it. Zoe Sharp failing to match the young gun Dino Britt in the second Ukkonen, lines up P17, and Winston Margaret in the struggling Velan, P18.
Sinjo Hamrin starts 19th, and he's been a bit frustrated with the performance of the car, being very hit or miss the last few races. Whereas the flying Richtograph has been a slightly cruising Richtograph this weekend, just off the pace and out of form in the Thornton this weekend.
Row 11, Anibal Corral in the second Velan, not been doing much this season other than making up the numbers. Lines up ahead of Freya Larson, who's been making up the numbers for Cortosi Corsa, yet to score, unlike Coro, who has scored an impressive 30 points so far. Lines up P22.
And on the back row of the grid, two more drivers who have been making up the numbers for one reason or another. Ji-Sun Lee in the second Rosato Corsa, the South Korean driver who has been rumored on and off ever since his rookie season, to be leaving the sport due to poor performance. He's still here. He's 23rd, and alongside Wolfgang Schmidt, the German veteran who's been trying to help McNeil out, is stuck in the back of the grid on 24th place. A bad result for him in qualifying. But with that out of the way, it's time to head to the grid. It's nice and sunny compared to the wet race the wet and wild qualifying we had last time out on Saturday. So onto the grid we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And the 75th British Grand Prix is underway as Tally gets a great start. Tally gets a good start, but a brilliant start for Gobert. Up into the lead goes the French woman. From second on the grid, she jumps the championship leader of Tally up into the lead. Tally got a decent start, is still fourth. Surikov gains a spot up into fifth. Bergman gains a spot. Lorenz gains a spot. Lumpus is dropped back on the start.
Break the graph!
Contact at the back. That's Break the Graph and Hamron. Both of them seem okay though. I see no damage on either car. They just banged wheels. They banged wheels, but they're both going. They're both still going as Clark Smith has made it up into third somehow. Where did he come from? As Critelli fights side by side with the second Panther, Harbouzi. Bergman's up in the ninth now. He's on a charge. Here comes Harbouzi trying to get around the Rossini up into fourth. Can't do it. He's trying to go around the outside through the middle sector. Not the orbital taking place that people normally think of, but he almost made it work. But the Graf gets a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision with his Hamron on the start. Disappointment for the Flying Dutchman, who's going to have to work even harder now to fly through the field this weekend. As Gobert leads lap 1 ahead, and Tally, Clark Smith, Critelli, Harbouzi, Surikov, Lippin, and Britt, Bergman, and Lorenz, the top 10. Nobody in the top 10. Nobody outside the top 10 has gained any places. Bashir, he's only 14th.
Yes, Bashir still 14th, and just to, Wolf, Critelli actually lost the final podium position P3 on turn 1, and is still in a Panther sandwiches, Critelli. Clark Smith a second and a half off of Tally, and Harbouzi right behind Critelli and Clark Smith.
And look who's coming up behind them. It's Surikov and the Yuma. The white and pink car is going after the Panthers. He could be a threat here as Critelli almost had a bad run onto the start-finish straight, almost lost the place to Harbouzi. And she's trying to defend from Harbouzi and trying to attack Clark Smith, who's on a brilliant form right now in his home Grand Prix. Qualified fourth, now runs third already in the opening laps of the race.
Well, these two are in the title fight, fourth and fifth, Critelli, Harbouzi. Claire Tally will be more than happy to see them in her mirrors 2 seconds up the road.
Biggest loser on the start. It's Kofi. Biggest loser on the start. It's Kofi on the opening laps. It's Kofi Koro. He's 14th. He's currently 14th. As Bashir is up into 12th now. But the biggest winner so far has got to be Bridget Gobert, the race leader. As Modi as we're seeing now, Tally's on the back of the French woman. Both of these drivers speak French, but they drive for different teams. Who's gonna hold the advantage as Critelli's in an epic 4-car fight right here with the two Panthers as Surikov gets in the middle of it. That's his old ride in front of him. As Maria Gonzalez, we're being told, made a mistake off in the back in turn 1. There she is.
Ran wide, lost 5 positions temporarily.
Down to 4 positions lost as she re-overtakes Schmidt immediately. As Critelli still stuck in a Panther sandwich with an extra bit of Yuma. Speaking of Yuma, there's Surikov trying to poke the nose inside of Harbouzi for 5th. Surikov wants a piece of the action. He wants to get a podium here today. The Russian is on the charge. As into turn 1 again. Who makes a mistake? Nobody. Critelli hangs on. And Surikov hangs on. Bashir doesn't though. He's off the track. But he's back on again. No positions lost, just a little bit of time though.
Well, these 4 are losing time to the front too. The gap's now 3 seconds. Tally to Clark Smith. Although Tally continuing to battle lap after lap with Gobert. hasn't actually got the lead since the start of the race, but Tally can bide her time. She's a patient woman. Let's see what she can do.
Indeed. Patience is on her side here, as she knows Critelli, championship rival with Critelli and Harbuzzi are behind her right now. She doesn't need to worry about that, although she wants this win and the points that come with it. As Critelli still stuck in a Panther sandwich. She can't make the move. She can't make the move on Clark Smith because she can't make the move on Clark Smith right now. And Harbuzzi can't do the same to her, as Surikov is just lurking in the background, just waiting for someone to make a mistake and take advantage of it.
Well, as it stands, Claire Tally would jump 10 points clear, although that's contingent on Critelli and Harbuzzi staying 4th and 5th, something I don't think either of them will be happy to do.
By the way, we haven't seen it yet, but Bashir is now up into 10th place past Linda Lorenz. Bashir, interestingly enough, started on the super soft tire, despite having a free choice. So maybe he's going to try and take advantage of that to make up some ground here in the opening laps.
Well, the two Van Dorts have certainly not made use of their strategic front row, as they were 11 and 12. They are now 12 and 13.
They didn't get a particularly great start in the middle of the field. They tried to get it. They didn't really do anything special there, as they got really held up by Coro in the other orange car, the Cortorsi car, as Coro got a horrible start and dropped several places. He's 14th right now. But look at this train behind Bashir. Bashir is on the back of Aki Limited for 7th, but Dino. But we used to hear a different kind of train. It's the Brit train today. It's the Brit train today, as Brit's got 4 cars behind. As Brit's got several cars behind him in the Uganin car. Meanwhile, up at the front, here comes Gobert. Gobert trying to hang on to Tally. Tally's trying everything, which way to get around, inside and outside, not making it work. Bergluse's bad day gets even worse, as he's apparently one wide in turn 1, doing the same mistake as Bashir.
As we did see Bashir overtaking Lipman for P7, looking to charge down, for now, this 4-car pack between Clark Smith and Surikov. Potentially more.
Indeed, he's only 5 seconds back from this fight. If these guys fight too much, it could be advantage Bashir, and he could get all 4 of them. That and also strategy will be key here. Strategy could be key here. It should be a 2-stop. It should be a 2-stop with how these tires work, with how the tire compounds work here. But strategy could be critical to try and jump your rivals in the pits. And with how close these four are, whoever blinks first could have an advantage.
As we see some intense battling between these four through Sector 2. What an example of racing this is.
These cars are moving around so much. They're trying different lines to try and gain the advantage. I love it. This is what we want to be seeing. Speaking of what we want to be seeing, up at the front, Tally is trying to make a move on Gobert to turn 1. The Steinman looking on the Rossini, not quite. The Steinman just lacking the power at the end of the straight to make the move. Meanwhile, the other Rossini still is trying to make the move on the Panthers. As to the outside goes Harbuzzi, and around Critelli he goes. Clark Smith got a bad exit, and Critelli gets them both. Brilliant. Critelli gets.
Oh. And Harbuzzi is furious. I had his comms open. I was actually listening out for strategy, and now both Panthers are furious at their race engineer, blaming the other. What a move from Critelli, though.
And Bashir's coming. He's only 2 seconds off the back of that train now. Here comes the Japanese driver. He's on a.
Well, here comes a pit crew in red. Who's that? But the Rossini crew. Who's it going to be first, though? Will it be Gobert or will it be Critelli? Both locked in battles at different points on the track. As I actually see some of the Rossini crews going back in the garage. Is this a second a second. Yeah, this is a second set of tires. They're going for a double stack.
I see the Panther crew getting ready. I see 8 sets of tires for the Panther crew. What are they playing?
What is this?
Are the Panthers doing a bluff, or are they gonna double stack both cars with them this close? And here comes Bashir. Bashir can see the white and pink Yuma ahead. He's going for it. As Gobert dives in, Critelli dives in, both Panthers dive in, and they double stack. Clark Smith double stacks with a Herbuzi, who had a slow stop. It was the right rear tire was slow on Herbuzi.
Traffic for all of them. Gobert's 10th, Critelli is 13th, and I can't. Clark Smith lost a lot of positions and a lot of time on the stack stop.
Yeah, Herbuzi had a slow right rear. And lost by my count 8 seconds.
7 seconds, yes. 7 seconds lost. And all of a sudden, Critelli goes from fighting both Panthers to not being able to see them. They're half a sector down.
Indeed. This might be the move. And the two Stymons stay out. As someone dies in, that's Lorenz from 10th place.
Linda Lorenz gets out the way. What tire will she?
Critelli makes a move on Coro, who hasn't pitted yet. He's on the soft tire. Super soft tires for Linda Lorenz. She's going aggressive on the strategy today. Thornton trying something different. As we're being told, you are getting ready in the pit lane. We assume it's for Surikov, given where he is on track. As Gobert clears Aki Lipinen, who we're also being told is coming into the pit lane.
Well, what a race this has turned into. The Panther drivers have turned from each other into the fury at their own pit garage as Pally comes in alongside Surikov.
That's soft tires.
Yellows.
Soft tires for Surikov as well. Soft tires for Surikov and Tally. So that's an interesting call. So we have a split strategy now between the teams.
Is Tally looking to make quick work of Coro for on-track P5, although Coro hasn't pit yet?
This is the risk that comes with pitting when you get stuck behind cars in the midfield that jump you in the stops. As Tally now is by Coro and now is working over the back of Lundqvist.
Look at how those tires are moving much more than the older tires of Lundqvist.
Yeah, indeed. And there's the move. Tally back up into provisional third place. Although teammate Bashir is still out there on those super softs. He can go longer because he started on a fresh set compared to the used of the front three. Herbuzi though, 5 seconds down on Claire Tally right now. What a disappointment for the Panther team. And bigger disappointment, Clark Smith, who's another 10 seconds down on his teammate after that double stack gone wrong. Speaking of Clark Smith, here he is, making moves through the midfield. That's Hamron and that's Winston Margate he's passed. Before he even pits, Gobert is back into the lead now by 5.5 seconds over teammate Critelli, who's second. Tally third, 4 seconds down.
The irony in Clark Smith is he is 20 seconds down on Critelli, who he was fighting. A pit stop here is what, 32 seconds with no fuel? So he's lost over half a pit stop.
Indeed, that is something. So Bashir will have the advantage of fresher tires than everybody else. As we're being told, the Steinman crew is ready for him. Here comes Bashir. Here comes Bashir in. Where is he gonna filter out now? Off go those super softs, on go the soft tires. So Bashir going for a long middle stint. Let's see what he's going to do. Where does he filter out? It looks like it's going to be just in front of Herbuzi. No, that's Clark Smith. Correction. That's Clark Smith he's in front of. So he comes out just in front of Clark Smith, so that puts Bashir effective 5th place behind Surikov, who's currently running 6th place, catching Siri Lundqvist, who hasn't stopped yet.
And all of a sudden, in 5 laps, this race has flipped from, smooth Fatalian for Steinman as Bashir was looking to climb up, to all of a sudden Rossini are now taking the lead in proceedings.
Dino Britt, by the way, who we did mention earlier, currently 14th, now about to be unlucky 13th after his pit stop. He's on the soft tires as well now. Siri Lundqvist, we're being told, has just made a mistake and has allowed Surikov through, and Bashir is only 5 seconds down on Lundqvist. As Clark Smith on those super soft tires is falling back from the Steinman ahead. The Steinman's fresher soft tires are better than Clark Smith's older supers at the moment. Interesting info for the tires, I suppose, for the other teams to keep an eye on.
Meanwhile, looking up and down the field, the big loser so far as we've completed 1/3 of the race. Kofi Koro started in Q3, is now P19.
Although there's a lot of cars in front of him on the soft compound tire who have yet to pit in front of him. So Koro's point streak might be in jeopardy here, but we'll have to wait and see, as he's got a lot of cars in front of him who we think might be trying to perform a one-stop. Unsure on the strategy on that at the moment. Well, a one-stop is apparently possible if you go soft to medium tire, but we'll have to wait and see on whether or not they try it. It'll be close.
Well, I know it's a long pit stop here, 32-second delta, but I still think a 2-stop is better, as we see Dino Britt in the midfield and Jens Bergman overtaking Sharp. Old tires, old driver. Is it time to hang up the wheel for Sharp?
Something I just noticed, by the way, guess who Dino Britt's in between right now? He's in between the two Gitanos of Lipinen and Bergman, 11th, 12th, and 13th right here. In fact, there's Britt, and that black and white car up ahead is Aki Lipinen, and the one behind him is Jens Bergman.
Meanwhile, Bashir made light work of Lundqvist for P6. 6 seconds up the road for Surikov, and then another 2 seconds for Harbuzi.
He's put 4 seconds on Clark Smith now since his pit stop. That's a mammoth effort right now for Bashir right now. He's pulled 4 seconds on the Panther. As Lorenz also, I just noticed, I think Linda Lorenz is catching Clark Smith. I think she's catching him.
Well, Lorenz is currently in the points, and I'm sure Thornton will not be unhappy to see her advance up the field and get more.
Indeed. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting for sure, but meanwhile, though, somebody else to know at the moment, Sanjay Modi in the second of the two Van Dorns, currently 10th right now. Actually, never mind. We're being told he's about to pit, so scratch that. He's not going to be 10th, but he's currently 10th right now, and we think he's going to be putting on medium tires to go to the end as Harbuzi dives in. Championship contender Harbuzi dives in from 4th place. He dives in already. It's a better stop than the last time, but he's going to come out 10th.
Double stack at Van Dort.
Correction, 11th. Yeah, Van Dort double stacked. We didn't see that. We didn't see that. Super soft tires for Modi, soft tires for Lundqvist. We don't know we didn't see the stop, so we don't know if they were affected by it or not. I don't think so, given how far away they were from each other. But that is interesting indeed. That is interesting indeed. So they double stacked as well, but it looks like they pulled it off better than the Panther did, as Clark Smith, we're being told, is getting called in. Those super soft tires are dead. As here, look at that. That's Linda Lorenz on the back of the Panther. Here comes Lorenz. She wants to try and overtake the Panther, but the Panther's going to be swinging hard right into pit lane. Wow! That was close. Almost got her front wing chopped off by Clark Smith as he swung in. Soft tires for Clark Smith. He's gonna have to stop again, I think, with those tires. Also,
Meanwhile,
Larson's on the medians, by the way, at the back of the field. I just noticed.
well, she's been slowly advancing as other people have pitted, although I don't see it working long term for her getting her first points. However, towards the front, it's a 1-2 for Ferrari, and so far it's been a disaster for Panther. So this would be a massive detriment to both Harbouzi and the team's chances at the title.
As it stands right now, Critelli would be leading the standings by, I believe. Well, with the fastest lap gone now, I believe it'll be 7 points over Tally now. Correction, no, 6. No, never mind. They will be tied at the moment. I forgot. Critelli is running second. Critelli is second. Tally is third. So no, they would be tied on points as it stands right now. Although I suppose you can't really afford to. They can't really afford the team orders with how big the gap is right now and how close Tally is. Plus, I suppose how miserable Gobert's season has been so far. I don't think they can afford to not give Gobert a win for motivational sake.
As we're starting to hear complaints from both Rossinis about tyre wear, and in fact, guess who's in the pit lane, Wolf?
Oh boy, is that a red suit I see in the pit lane?
Perhaps it is. What tyres will they go for? I think the softs you would have to conserve if you want to make it from here. So, will it be mediums?
Is that 8 tires I see in the pit lane again?
It is.
That's 8 sets of tires. It's double stack central today in the pit lane. Every single team wants to try flexing their double stopping skills. It's just that
here we go.
Panther was the one team that got it wrong. And
red and red. Those are 8 red tires. Rossini are going for a 3-stop.
A 3-stop at Guilford. That's going to be fun. And look at this. Surkov has split the 2 Rossinis for the moment. And so is Bashir. Bashir is ahead of Critelli right now. So this is going to get this could get spicy as Critelli has to admit Critelli's going to have to put her foot down. She's got to clear Bashir and Surkov quick to make sure that Tally, when Tally pits, doesn't have any sort of advantage over her. And there we go. Easily past Bashir up into 4th now. Now she has to work over the white and pink Yuma, as Harbouzi, by the way, is back up into 6th place on the soft compound tire. He might have to stop again, or he might have to stop again. In fact, yes, he probably will have to. He definitely can't stretch those tires 30 laps. As there goes Critelli, easily past Surkov on the main straightaway, back up into 3rd. So the 2 Rossinis, now 2nd and 3rd, once again, 2nd and 3rd at the moment, just like they were in qualifying, but they have the advantage on tires. And here comes Clark Smith, passing Dino Britt up into 10th place, and now trying to swing past and get past Aki a little bit, but Aki throws a block. Not wanting to let the Panther through, but I don't think he has a choice. No, Aki holds on for another corner or two as Dino Britt is trying to cross over the Panther. He wants to take a piece of Clark Smith, but Clark Smith has the better traction and clears the Catano. But that
won't do the world of good for Clark Smith. That'll overheat his tyres, all that pushing, attacking.
Indeed it will, but speaking of pushing, Gobert sets the fastest lap of the race. Gobert now sets the fastest lap of the race, 136.7. As Lorenz dives into the pit lane, what tire will the Thornton go for? Super soft tires for Lorenz. She's copying the Rossinis as Dino Britt's going slowly. His rear wing is gone. His rear wing has fallen off the car. You can't drive that. You can't drive that car. I know it's a special weekend, but racing cars need to have rear wings if they're gonna go this fast around that circuit. So there goes Dino Britt.
Yep, this isn't the Phoenix. This isn't the Phoenix Oval. You can't just not use wings around here. As you can see how slowly and erratically even he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's here.
Yeah,
it's just not a good outcome for Ukkonen or for Dino Britt.
That will potentially open up a points paint slot, and look who might capitalize on that. Kofi Koro is currently 11th right now. We don't know where he'll cycle out once the pit stops are over, but Kofi Koro might have a shot at getting
Gobert!
Gobert up into the lead again. Easy move for Gobert. The tire difference is massive as now they come to Lab Corral in 23rd place. First lap car of the day. But Dino Britt, shame for him. We're being told down in the pit lane, once he parked the car, he climbed out, looked at what was left of where his rear wing was, punched the car in frustration, and walked into the garage and out of the race.
Well, the issue was it fell off trying to close with DRS coming into turn 1 down the pit straight. So, and we can see the stewards at turn 1-2 with Dino Britt's rear wing. I'm sure he'd like to have it back, but he can't.
Yeah, I wonder. That's the fastest part of the right before going into turn 1 and 2. That's the fastest corner. That's the fastest part of the circuit. As Claire Talia just made a mistake behind. I saw it off in the distance. Speaking of, off in front of her, that's Ji-Sun Lee trying to make himself relevant in this race. He goes off the track into the gravel, but comes back on. Hopefully he didn't kick up any gravel for second and third place Critelli, of Talia and the Critelli, as Lorenz moves up into 9th place and past the two Katanos.
2 second and third, and Claire Talley is struggling here. Those better tyres for Critelli are working, and this is full position with both drivers needing one to stop. There Critelli goes, has a look, can't quite make it.
Don't take each other out, ladies. Wow, as Ji-Sun Lee dies out of the way, slams on the brake to get out of the way. He did not want to go side by side with the leaders through that corner. But Critelli now has second once again and is pulling away from Talley. So it looks like the Rossinis have played the strategy perfectly. As Bashir now closes up on the back of Surikov for 4th.
As this race is turning into a bit of a Rossini, well, it's going well for Rossini so far, and not for Panther or for Steinman. As Bashir locks up.
Bashir pushing hard. DeGraff has been off DeGraff, we're being told, has gone off the circuit again in front of the race leader. In fact, so that could be a problem. And look who's closed up behind. That's Harbuzi on the back of Bashir now. Will Bashir give way for Harbuzi, or is he going to fight this? Bashir is on older tires
Critelli!
Off the track into the dirt, off the track and onto the runway goes Critelli for a moment. This isn't a catwalk, girl. That's not the right runway to be on.
Well, for someone who it is a catwalk for at the moment, Brigitte Gobert, the French driver, conquering Britain like it's 1066. If she pits, she comes out in 3rd, as we're hearing Zoe Sharp runs wide near the back.
That's true. She can pit. She's at this pace. She might be able to clear. She might be able to have a pit stop lead over Talley before her final stop. As Harbuzi, here he comes to the inside of Bashir into the chicane. Not quite. Can he get it into the hairpin? No, he will not. He cannot get into Lowfield. Down the straight they go. Down the short straight they go. Under the tunnel, and heading down past the runway into Maggotts, Beckett, and Chapel. Harbuzi is staring through. He is staring daggers at the rear wing of the Steinman and the Panther directly in front of him. It's hard to ignore that hot pink rear wing. As Harbuzi hounding the Steinman. Here he comes. Does he have a run this time? Going to the trying to go to the outside. Would switch to the inside, but he doesn't have the grip. Got arrow wash as he almost goes off the track. Still trying to fight it. Going into the chicane now. No, not quite. Back into Luffield once again. Trying to make the move. Can he cross over? No, he cannot. Bashir doing excellent defending to stay ahead of the championship contender Harbuzi.
Well, Bashir doing all he can for his teammate Tally, who is 20 seconds up the road as he locks up again.
Bashir is giving it all he's got as we're being told the Yuma team are getting ready in the pit lane. And it's for Surikov. Here comes the Russian. Is it Russian roulette time? Is it Russian roulette time on the strategy? What will they do?
Softs again.
Soft tires.
As
to the end.
As we see Corral come out on the mediums ahead of Surikov there. As Surikov down to 9th.
That was a close merge as he comes out 9th. He comes out 9th ahead of Linda Reds, as we're being told the two Katanos have deployed team orders. Bergman was told to move out of the way before he dove into the pit lane, and that's Modi he's alongside, along with now. Is that for Cluse in 16th? No, that's Sharp. Never mind, that's the other great car.
Claire Tallien. Now both Rossini have a pit stop lead except for on each other, as we also see Surikov back to 6th place.
Bashir's in.
Bashir, super soft. 17 to go. Wow.
That's a risky call. And I thought Surikov was going to play Russian roulette today. He's not. Bashir is. As Bashir.
I mean,
Bashir's got nothing
Bashir went 16 on his first in, but even that was looking shaky towards the end. So
he was fat with fuel though. Lighter car, more track grip. It might just work. But will he have enough pace at the end of the race to hold off Surikov? He's gonna have to get by the Russian first. Speaking of getting by, Tally has cleared Harbuzi before Harbuzi does anything else.
Well, that's not good news for Harbuzi, who needs to battle Claire Tally for those valuable driver championship points.
Speaking of battle, here's a good battle. That's Gonzalez. Gonzalez ahead in the blue and pink is Gonzalez. The orange and white is Modi going through up into 11th, and behind them, look at this mess. 3 wide as the two Katanos pass Maria Gonzalez, and Bergman gets ahead of teammate Lipinen once again. That's going to excite Lipinen to no end, I imagine, as Bergman now has to try and attack the orange and white Van Dort.
Claire Tally sets a fastest lap.
New fastest lap of the race for Claire Tally, 36.5, as she tries to push on those soft tires, but she is a pit stop down on Jessica Critelli. And not even Gobert. It's Critelli who's second right now, as Modi locks up in the battle for 11th place. And guess who's up in the 10th right now? It's Kofi Coro, who's diving into the pit lane now. Coro into the pit lane, and gets lapped by the leaders as well. Coro's going to come out, I believe, 15th. Just ahead of Jessica Critelli. Coro comes out in 15th ahead of Critelli, but everybody he's fighting for the final point are on the same lap as him. So now he's going to have the fresher tires, and I think he's got about 8 seconds to catch up to Jens Bergman, who's currently got the final point in 10.
As here they come. The Tifosi's army of mechanics, also known as this Rossini pit crew, are out with 8 more tires.
They're coming out for Gobert, and they're coming out for the El Presidente, as she's been known, Jessica Critelli, who's going to be the championship leader as it stands right now.
Well, we will see where Critelli comes out. I don't think she has quite a pit stop lead, only 20 seconds. But Gobert, 13 up the road, will be much clearer of Tally.
Good stop for Gobert. Good stop for Gobert, and Critelli also good stop. Gobert comes out well clearing the lead. There goes Tally up into second for now. But Critelli's on fresher super soft tires. This is probably going to be no contest here, as Coro is already back up into 11th place. He's dispatched him for Gonzalez and dispatched him for Cluse. He is up into 13th already. Here comes Coro, a sentence I don't think I've ever said before.
Bashir is also flying, by the way. He's sixth currently.
Can he catch her? Can he catch? Can he catch and pass Surikov? That was the question. And can he also make it to the end? It's going to be close on all fronts for that.
Well, I mean, we'll see how this race comes to a close. There are still battles going on up and down the fields. No less for the final point. Bergman holding ahead of Modi, Lipinen, and Coro as we see Critelli runs wide, loses 3 seconds.
That's not what you want to do, but she's got time to catch her championship rival. Speaking of catching, guess who's on the back? Guess who's up to 11th? It's Kofi Coro. Or no, correction, that's Sanjay Modi. Coro's 13th. I had the wrong orange car. From a distance they look the same until you see the white of the Van Doren, the gray of the Cartorsi. And speaking of which, Lipinen up into 11th now, past Modi, but Coro's coming. Here comes the other orange car. As Coro.
Hey, Wolf.
Yes.
Why is Critelli no longer gaining on Claire Talley? Or at least if she is, it's very minimal. She's only gained half a second in about the past lap.
Perhaps she got dust on her tires from going off the track. The pavement that you see off the racing line, off the racing groove here, is very dusty and not very grippy. So you don't really want to be driving on. You don't want to really be driving on that or put a wheel on that. That can very easily lead to mistakes. So perhaps she's dusting off her tire. She's trying to clear off dust off her tires and go for another run. She's in fact now almost within DRS range once again as Coro has cleared the Van Doren to Modi. Coro now has 5 seconds to Bergman ahead. He has to clear both Katanas to keep his point streak alive. Can he do it? It will be his first points, I believe, on home soil as well, as here comes Critelli onto the back of Talley now. This is no contest. As Lorenz dives into the pit lane, we forgot about her. Here comes Lorenz. Lorenz, we're being told, has a problem. Is complaining of an engine issue as well now in the Thornton. As teammate Rick DeGraff, the flying Rick DeGraff is now the cruising Rick DeGraff once again. Another failure of that car. No, it's not visual, so I can't tell you what's wrong with the car right now. We'll have to wait till he gets back to the pits.
Well, that's not good, though. Both Thorntons reporting a problem, one terminal, one not within the same, half a lap, really. Meanwhile, Larson at the back ditched the mediums eventually, is now 21st.
We missed it, by the way, but Talley up into Critelli clears Talley, and look at this mess. That's actually both of the Yumas. That's both Yumas. One unlapping. That's actually. Is that Vercluse? Yes, that is Vercluse. That's Vercluse unlapping himself from Surikov. That's a surprise. As Bashir's now up into 4. Never mind, there goes Vercluse.
Oh. Vercruz runs wide.
Vercruz is having a miserable weekend. The Belgian driver has just had no pace at all this weekend. He cannot get that car to do anything he wants. Whereas Surikov is making it look easy. Oh, problem! That's a...
Critelli!
The right front of the left front of Critelli's car is up in the air. That's not normal. There's a suspension problem. The right rear. I think it's a right rear suspension because the left front is in the air. So Critelli.
But this is going to cost so much for Critelli. She was about 10 seconds. She was 10 seconds down on Gobert. She's now 25 with a sector to go and a repair to make. She could end up 6th here from what looked a certain P2.
Coro, by the way, as we're watching Critelli come back to the pits, Coro is on the back of Aki Lipinen right now in the fight for 12. Or the fight for 11th, correction. Here, and they're also catching to the back. They're also about to catch Gobert, who's about to let Jens Bergman. So that could be critical. Critelli in the pit lane, no tires. They're just fixing the suspension. Looks like it was a quick fix too. It looked like it was just one piece that was slightly bent. They were able to somehow fix. They were able to fix that in a hurry. And she's out again. She's back out again in 6th place.
As that massively changes the standings for the Drivers' Championship, Claire Talley and Bashir obviously being 2-3, Steinman are going to gain a lead. In fact, does that mean that Steinman gain a lead as, Bashir, not able to make it 18 laps, is coming in? So this could change something again.
Wait, that's gonna put the Surikov Herbuzzi battle up. That's gonna put the Surikov Herbuzzi battle up to a fight for the final podium. Here comes Surikov up into third. There goes Bashir into the pit lane. Wait, is Bashir actually gonna get out before Cortelli comes? It's gonna be close. Here comes Cortelli.
Not quite.
Yes, Cortelli's up into fifth, but probably with fresher tires, Bashir will get past the Rossini.
You would think so, as we will stick with these two, as Critelli told to pick up the pace. Bashir using Kurz. Can't make the move just yet.
Koro, by the way, apparently, Koro has now just cleared Aki Lippinen, by the way, into turn one. He's on the, actually, I just realized, with the blue flags, that's Bergman. There he is. Bergman, Koro, and Aki fighting for the final points. Catano's coming into the, there's a Catano coming into the pit lane. Apparently it's for Bergman. We're not sure why, though.
Well, this would be another brilliant point for the Cortosi Corsa and Koro as Bashir passes Critelli.
Talley will maintain the championship lead. Herbuzzi will move into second. Cortelli will now be third. Crash!
Oh, crash!
It's Rossini!
Bear's gone!
It's Gobert! Gobert's off the track in the final corner! She lost it in the chicane, and Claire Talley is going to take the lead of the race! As into the pits goes Jens Bergman. Bergman probably shouldn't have pitted now. That's gonna bump Aki Lippinen into the points, and Bergman's now gonna be out of the points. Claire Talley leads into Guilford. Talley leads in Guilford. Meanwhile, this was for the final podium spot. Now it's for second as Herbuzzi moves into second ahead of Surikov. Oh my, Rossini's race was going so well and now it's falling apart. Bashir sets the fastest lap of the race, by the way, into the bargain. But will that be challenged because that was under yellow flags?
Well,
as Lorenz
Lorenz
is now going to be PA. Koro's up to 9th now. Koro's going to get points.
I've got to admit, there's massive shades from Gobert towards what Dieter Wexler infamously did, handing Harry Chapman the title lead at the time in Munich.
Indeed. Wow.
And in 5 minutes, this race has went from a Rossini 1-2 to neither being on the podium and Claire Talley having a championship lead and a 25-second lead over Herbuzzi.
Wow. That is unbelievable. What have we just seen? Something else I just noticed, by the way. Guess who? Siri Lundqvist. We have not mentioned her since the start of the race. She's P6 right now. Where did that come from?
A cool, composed drive with a decent use of the alternate strategy, by the looks of it. Only 2 stops, so it must have been soft supers, but if it works, it works.
I suppose it does. Meanwhile, by the way, Clark Smith is only 7th right now, but I just realized Lorenz is on the back of Clark Smith. Is Lyndon Lorenz about to overtake a Panther? They're both apparently complaining of issues. Aki Lippinen is diving into the pit lane. What happened to Aki Lippinen? He dives in with 2 laps to go. So he dives in. Bergman is now P10 again. So Bergman's gonna get the final point. Here comes, meanwhile, Bashir versus Surikov. No contest. Bashir up into 3rd. Surikov down to 4th.
What a recovery for Bashir, who had that massive run wide in Q2, couldn't recover it. He has recovered it on the Sunday.
By the way, another driver we haven't mentioned much so far this race, Maria Gonzalez is now 11th. If anybody else drops out, that's a point for Rosato Corsa.
That would be a huge point for Rosato Corsa.
This race, wow. This race has gone mental. Now we're on the final lap. Talley leads by 23 seconds over Herbuzzi. Bashir 3rd, Surikov 4th, Critelli 5th, Lundqvist is 6th. Clark Smith 7th, but will he hold on to it? Lorenz is fighting Clark Smith. They're heading up into the left field hairpin. Can Clark Smith hold on? As Tally's coming to the line. Claire Talley, out of nowhere, wins the British Grand Prix. Herbuzi's just gonna hold on to finish 2nd. Aki Lipinen's gonna finish a frustrating 11th. Herbuzi 2nd. Bashir 3rd. Herbuzi 2nd. Bashir 3rd. Surkov a brilliant 4th. Gratellia frustrated 5th after leading the race several times and drives off the track in frustration. Siri Lundqvist is going to hold on to finish a brilliant P6 for Van Dorn. And Lorenz has got it. Lorenz beating Clark Smith to the line. Unbelievable. Linda Lorenz at the death beats Clark Smith to the line. And the British crowd's going nuts. But Kobe Coro gets 9th to keep his point streak alive. And Bergman 10th. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat again. Oh my.
Well, that's not your fault, Wolf. These are enthralling races to be watching. And, oh yeah, what a race. What are your closing thoughts and summary for next time?
What a race. What a race that was. Although still, oh my god.
There's no detracting from it.
That is unbelievable. What have we just seen?
No message so far from Ferrari's garage. If they want to send a message, we will be happy to read it out to end the broadcast. But yeah, just
stunned silence is what I see on the pit crew's face right now. They've just watched the Steinman, as they're watching the Steinmans come out onto the podium. Just stunned silence. What can you even say? Oh, man. That is going to be a tough pill to swallow for them. But they will have a chance to try and redeem themselves next time out in Milan. But this is not the momentum that you want to be carrying into that race, for sure. What have we seen? But still, 75 years of racing. What a race to show off the best and the worst that racing can give people. Drama all the way through the race, and with the scrutineering's done, it's confirmed that Talley has won this race. Bashir manages to get 3rd after a brilliant drive. So Steinman will gain a lot of points in the constructors now. Surkov a brilliant 4th. Lundqvist from out of nowhere silently snuck up into 6th place. Lorenz beat Clark Smith to the line by 3/100ths of a second. That is one of the closest finishes we've ever seen.
Ironically enough, Aki Lipinen and Maria Gonzalez finished by the same gap, and that wasn't even for points.
We didn't even see that because we were focused on the drama. We were focused on what was going on up front, and we almost missed Lorenz beating Clark Smith to the line. Coro keeps his point streak alive as well, and Bergman and Aki though. They're going to have some questions to ask their strategy team at the end of this race with a bizarre strategy that caused them to both pit with less than 5 laps to go in the race, costing them a potential 9 and 10. And at the back, Dino Britt retired. A shame for the American driver. He could have gotten good points today. This was a race that he could have gotten a top 5 in. Rick DeGraff had a miserable weekend and DNF'd for failure. And Bridget Gobert, the longtime race leader, crashing out in the chicane. Her miserable season continues. That is unbelievable. But now the driver's standings, it's Claire Talley, 10 points ahead in the standings, ahead of Herbuzi, with Talley dropping to 3rd, 18 points down.
And by the way, I just want to...
Only 42 back.
Yeah, I was going to mention Bashir. You don't want to put him out the race yet. 42 points, that's maybe two good results, and he could be back in the fight.
Indeed, but Gobert's miserable season continues. That is unbelievable for her. I feel terrible for the Frenchwoman. She's tried to do everything right, but nothing has gone her way. I hope we'll hear from her in the post-race interviews later to figure out what on earth happened. Because even from the replays, I don't understand what happened there to cause her to crash there. That's not a normal place you would see someone go off. But in the constructors now, Steinman pull ahead by a long way. They have
a full race. A full race they've got now.
They've got exactly a full race. They have exactly a full race ahead of Rossini now. Panther 65 points back. They are not out of contention yet, so they could pull something here. As Cortorsi pull just hang on ahead of Van Dorn in the fight for P6. As Katana lose out though. Katana could lose P5 here if they're not careful. Cortorsi and Van Dorn are closing. As for Thornton, they pull further ahead of Ukkonen thanks to Ukkonen's failure this race. And Rosardo Corsa missed out on another point, but other than that, that's been one very interesting Guilford Grand Prix in general. I can't wait to see what Milan's going to be like next week, to see if Rossini can come back on a revenge run.
Well, as Wolf mentioned, Milan is the next Grand Prix. It is the start of the second half of this exciting World Motorsport Championship. This has been a Wolf Motorsports broadcast. I'm Ginger.
And I'm Wolf. And we'll see you next time at the Temple of Speed, Rossini country. We'll see you then.